If today feels like things are opening again, but in a more controlled way, like you can do more without losing what you've built, this isn't random. Expansion has returned, but not in the same way as before. Earlier, expansion felt like possibility. Now, it feels like capacity. You may notice that you can handle more today, more action, more responsibility, more movement in your direction, without feeling scattered, without losing focus, without disrupting your rhythm. That's the difference, because now you have structure. What you've been repeating, what you've been stabilizing, what you've proven works is holding, and that stability creates space. Space to grow, space to extend, space to build further. You may also feel a natural pull to do more, not from pressure, but from readiness, a sense that you can take the next step, that you can expand what you're doing without losing control. And that feeling is what makes today powerful, because expansion now is not guesswork, it's built on something real. You're not exploring randomly, you're extending what already works. So if today feels more open, more capable, like you can move further without losing what you've built, it's because growth has become stable enough to expand. What you're experiencing today is not just growth returning, it's growth becoming supported. Earlier expansion was based on possibility. You were exploring, testing, seeing what could work. But now, you've already done that. You've built structure, you've created consistency, you've stabilized your direction, and that changes everything. Because expansion without structure creates overwhelm, but expansion with structure creates scale. That's the shift happening now. You're not adding more to something unstable, you're building on something that already holds, and that's why it feels different. You may notice that you can take on more today without losing clarity, because your base is doing its job. What you've repeated is now automatic enough to support additional movement. You're not starting from zero, you're expanding from something stable. That stability absorbs the pressure of growth. It keeps your direction intact even as you do more. You may also notice that your decisions feel easier again, not because you're guessing, but because you already know what works. So when new options appear, you filter them faster. You recognize alignment quicker. You move more efficiently, and that efficiency is what allows expansion without chaos. So what you're feeling today is not just opportunity, it's readiness. The ability to grow without losing control. The ability to extend without breaking structure. The ability to do more while staying aligned. And that's what makes this phase powerful. Because now, growth is not something you chase, it's something you can sustain. This is where today becomes critical. Because when capacity increases, the instinct is to use all of it. You may feel like you can do more, take on more, expand faster, push further. And that's not wrong, but it can become misaligned. The first trap is overexpansion, trying to grow too quickly, adding too many things at once, taking on more than your structure can support, expanding in multiple directions instead of one. Because now that things are working, it can feel like everything is possible. But growth still needs direction, and when expansion becomes excessive, it weakens the foundation. The second trap is abandoning what built the structure, focusing so much on growth that you stop maintaining what already works, reducing consistency, changing your rhythm, neglecting the actions that created stability in the first place, because expansion feels more important. But without maintenance, growth doesn't hold. There's also a subtler pattern today, expanding for the wrong reason. Not because something is aligned, but because you feel capable. Because you can do more, you assume you should do more. But capacity does not define direction. Alignment does. So the real calibration today is controlled expansion. Not suppressing growth, but guiding it. Choosing where to expand. Choosing how much to add. Choosing what supports what you've already built. Not everything needs to grow now. Only what is connected. Only what reinforces your direction. Because what makes today powerful is not how much you expand, it's how well your expansion holds. So how do you expand without losing stability and without disrupting your progress? You grow in layers. Not all at once, but intentionally. Because today is not about using all your capacity, it's about directing it. Start by identifying what is already stable, what continues to work consistently, what holds without effort, what already produces results. That stays untouched. You don't change it, you don't reduce it, you don't replace it, you protect it. Then you expand around it. Add one layer, not multiple directions, not multiple changes, just one extension that builds on what already works. Because expansion is strongest when it's connected, not separate. You can also regulate your pace. You don't need to move faster just because you can. Keep your rhythm stable. Let growth fit into your current structure, instead of forcing your structure to adjust too quickly. Because forced expansion creates instability, but aligned expansion strengthens everything. You may also notice that your awareness becomes important again, not just of what you're doing, but of how much you're doing. Watch for overload, watch for drift, watch for any shift that disrupts your consistency. And if you notice it, adjust immediately. Not everything needs to continue growing if it weakens what you already built. So today, expand carefully. Build on what works. Add without replacing. Grow without rushing. Because that's what turns stability into real scale. Let everything settle here. Not to slow your growth, but to stabilize it. Because today was not about expanding everything. It was about expanding correctly. So take a breath. Steady, controlled, unforced. And notice what remains when you don't try to do more than necessary. There's strength here, not from effort, but from structure. And that structure is what allows growth to hold. Because now, you're not building from uncertainty, you're building from something real, something proven, something consistent, something that continues even when you don't question it. So not everything needs to grow at once. Not everything needs your attention. Some things just need to continue exactly as they are. Because what is stable is what supports expansion. Without it, growth becomes unstable. So as you move forward from here, keep returning to that. What is already working? What is already holding? What is already supporting your direction? Protect it, maintain it, let it stay consistent. And then build around it, one layer at a time, without rushing, without forcing, without trying to expand everything at once, because that's what creates growth that lasts. Not something temporary, not something reactive, but something that scales without breaking. So carry that with you, this ability to grow without losing what you've built. And if this helped you feel more clear, even slightly, return to it as your expansion continues to unfold. And if you want to keep moving through these shifts with more awareness, more control, you can come back here. Each day, not to chase growth, but to build it correctly.